Dubs are back on the menu, boys. Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Postgame show, live from the Xfinity studio and presented by Bet365. J. Mike and Rudo coming to you as the Avs win. They defeat the Utah Mammoth 4-2 to get back started up after the Olympic break. A game that I think had a lot of the signs we expected of coming off of said break, but Avs take care of business.
Got the dub.
Yep.
Little bit of a grind it out. Little bit of a slugfest at times. But hey, this is what you wanted to see, right? Find a way to get it done. You don't have McKinnon. Shouldn't be the end of the world. Get some depth production. We'll get into all of it, but
we will.
More than anything, you took care of business, which is what you wanted to see.
Yeah, solid work. You maintain your spacing with Dallas, who also won tonight. I don't think there's a ton more you can really ask. It's far from a perfect game, but I think expecting that is unrealistic given the situation you're in. And you're going to have to learn to win greasy, ugly, whatever, because you're going to have a lot more games with tired legs and otherwise coming up here. So a good start to all of that. We can start with a 60-second rundown from our side to break this game down. First period, the Avs were definitely the better team, but had nothing to show for it. They did score a goal, but it was goalie interference on Brock Nelson, so it's 0-0 after one. Second period was the explosion of goals for both teams, but the Avs are the ones to break through first. Parker Kelly, the unexpected hero maybe, to get the Avs on the board. And then the Avs did some running downhill, at least at 5-on-5 in the second period. They would score again to make it 2-0. Could argue the Avs had a discipline problem in this game. I think it ended up being 6 total penalties on them.
A little sloppy.
Not great, but it only cost them 1 goal. They happens to come, on the second power play they give up with the game, make it 2-1. And then the Avs, Brock Nelson drops the hammer to get it back to 3-1. Unfortunately, the Avs give that goal back pretty quickly, but the Avs weren't taking no nonsense. They made sure to put themselves in position to win. They get that goal back. Marty Nage's power play goal was in there as well. It was all good. I've gone out of order now, but it was 4-2 by the end of the second. And frankly, the third period, you mostly just watched Utah give up. So
really surprised by the lack of pushback there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'd be disappointed with that third period if I was a Utah fan. This is a team that is scrapping and clawing in a wild card spot, right? These are arguably more important points for them than they are for the Avs. And you did not get a great effort in that third period for a team that did not send a lot of guys to the Olympics either. There was a lot of fresh legs there.
I would just, if I were a Utah fan, I'm sitting there thinking, we got the Avs in town, first game back in a couple weeks, and this is what we've got after 40 minutes. This is the amount of gas we got left in the tank.
Not great, Bob.
Not great, Bob.
Utah team is weird. I think they are probably a better team than they showed in this game.
I agree.
But I also don't know how high their ceiling really is. So it's hard for me to place them a little bit.
If anything, I think it just speaks to some of what we got into pregame, which is just there's levels to this. The gap in the division.
Yep.
They're frisky. They're a team you can't overlook. But there's levels to this.
Right. If the Avs play the way they should, this should be a win. And that's what it was. You got a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of mistakes, but I think the Avs got away with some mistakes in this game. Some of that is there were stretches where Scott Wedgwood was playing very well. Some of that is there were stretches where Utah just wasn't executing at all.
I mean, early on, this game is maybe a lot different. If Wedgwood doesn't come up with a couple of those big saves, feels like Utah whiffed on the wide open net at least multiple 3 times in this game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are a lot of small things that add up that could have made it a little bit hairier.
Yeah, but,
That's hockey.
No apologies.
Yeah.
Did Utah lose this game more than the Avs won it? Maybe, but at the end of the day, the W is still the W. So,
I think, at least in terms of the stretches where both teams were still trying to compete and play hockey,
yeah,
the Avs were the better team.
Oh yeah. Other than the penalties, I think the Avs were definitively the better team in this game, and I mean the actual penalties taken, not the special teams. I think the Avs special teams was at least as good as Utah's was, or maybe rather Utah's was as bad.
I mean, if you 5 successful PKs and you go 50% on the power play, that's a pretty good special teams night.
That includes a minute of 5-on-3.
Yeah,
too.
good point.
That is, and the PK has never been a big worry for the Avs.
No.
We know it's been good,
but you might have some rust, and you have to shake some things up given the moves you've made. I mean, you wanted to see. I think you just wanted to see things look steady, and they were.
Yeah, you give up one. Again, I'm much more of an opinion of the problem there is you took 6 penalties. That's too many.
Don't do that.
Or some of the calls cheap or whatever, sure. But at a certain point, Landy doesn't need to be tackling a guy.
I mean, the Manson trip, what are you doing?
Right. You get a too many men penalty. Thankfully, the game is mostly in hand at that point. But those are the type of penalties that you just can't be taken. You have to do a better job there. And
some of it you probably just chalk up as rust.
I would say every time on this show I get into, here's the bad thing that they need to do better. They will. That's entirely, they haven't played in 3 weeks or they're exhausted and just flew back from Italy. So there is plenty of built-in, the bad stuff is not a major concern for me. It'll get fixed. But the issues were still there and you can still acknowledge them. So, but on the whole, at 5-on-5, they looked like the Avs. They look like the team that has been utterly dominant across the entirety of this season. And I think the biggest step for me, other than obviously they scored goals and won, the way they reacted to the goal getting called back in the first period, no big frustrations, not even a slip in their play. They just continued going to work in that first period. And yeah, they didn't get rewarded for it. But it's level, even keel, business time approach.
Well, and especially against a team who you've had some wonkiness against both this season and in the past. That very much is a sliding doors moment, right?
For sure, yeah.
There's a world in which that one gets overturned. Maybe you give up a cheapie and all of a sudden you're down 1-0 and just the context, the whole tone of the matchup goes a lot differently.
Yeah.
To the Avs' credit, they were far more capitalistic than Utah was,
sure.
and that was huge. They should be. You're a more talented team. But I thought that was encouraging to see, especially given it has been a couple of weeks and you've had to tweak some lines here. You get Landy back. Obviously, you're missing Nate. This isn't what you were playing with before the break. And really, outside of some really dumb penalties and some sluggish stretches maybe in the neutral zone where you kind of wanted to see guys have better legs get to the puck with a little bit more urgency.
Yeah, the split-second decisions weren't there at times. And the puck management, too, I think, looked like a bunch of guys that hadn't played a game in 3 weeks.
But that's one where it's okay, if 2 weeks from now we're still saying that, I'm going to be worried. Right, but in this game, I don't think there's a whole lot to be taken away from that.
I agree. You do not have to. I mean, I guess it's fair to say the Avs put themselves in a position where you don't have to nitpick when it comes to a game like this one. They are not trying to play their way into the playoffs. They have the top spot in the NHL. And yes, they need to play well to hold on to that spot. But you live in a world where the Avs are allowed to build into it, and they won. So, again.
And you won decisively on a night when you're missing Nathan McKinnon. You're on the road.
Honestly, a very underrated point of this game. We're not going to talk about it a ton because the Avs took care of it and casually waltzed their way to a win. But that's without arguably the best player in the league, or certainly a top 3 player in the league, and you didn't even miss him. That's insane. Teams aren't supposed to just be able to absorb that. And
especially from just a possession standpoint and maintaining, time in the zone and creating opportunities. They really didn't skip a beat.
Not at all. The stats are going to look a little weird because again, that third period was a nothing burger.
Like, I honestly have nothing to take away from it.
Yeah, I don't need to get into the advanced stats or anything, but just to look at the actual shot totals in this game, because Utah ended up over 30 with a half-hearted push in the third period that ultimately didn't mean anything. And Colorado finished the game with just 25 shots on goal, but they had 21 in the first two periods. So
it was really clear by like the 14-minute mark that Utah had packed it up.
Right. So the stats are a little bit skewed by let's just get out of here third period, which is actually A1 stuff from the Avs because they have to go play tomorrow. And they got to save some of those legs for the next game by doing that.
I mean, if you're willing to punt on this period, thank you kindly.
Right.
We will oblige.
So honestly, don't know how much better the game could have gone for Colorado on that front of mechanically. And the other side of it is a really, really nice game for Brett Kulak. Obviously didn't produce, but that's not what he's brought here to do. You didn't notice him much, which is the point.
Do the dirty stuff. There were no instances where he's scrambling back desperately because he tried to jump into the zone, you know, or just something silly, wasn't able to get the clear out. Like he did the small things.
Well, and when you look at the Avs D pairs in this zone, the general takeaways are your top pairing wasn't very good defensively for a good
not
portion
a banner
of the game.
Night for really talented duo.
Your second pairing of Manson Burns, I actually thought was quite good, but you know, Burns with that one brutal turnover.
Manson takes a bad penalty.
Right, guys prone to big mistakes.
Kind of a classic.
Yeah,
Manson Burns.
100%, 100%. And then the Kulak-Malinsky pairing just doing their thing. You don't have to worry
doing
about
exactly
them.
What you're supposed to.
You don't have to think about it. And again, it's one game for Kulak. Don't go jumping to the moon. But that's why they made the trade, for stability that you got perfectly out of that third pairing in this game.
And that's really all you need out of that third line, especially when on most nights you have far and away the best 1-2 punch at defense in the entire league.
Yeah, when they're not jet lagged to hell, at least.
When they're not still feeling like it's 6 a.m. for their body.
That's a tough start time for them.
Bro, I sleep on my neck wrong, and I'm like, it's not going to be a productive day.
I can't even imagine. I hate traveling. I'm absolutely the worst.
It stresses me out. Messes my whole routine. Yeah, my body's off. Appetite gets messed up.
I get home and it's like I need to sleep for a day, and these guys are like, "Yeah, you play a game in 24 hours. Good luck."
And then you get to hop on a plane and play another one.
Not easy. Just more travel. That's all you've got in the bag.
You'll be fine.
Look, they're built different. All right, I can't pretend to compare to those guys, but Colorado, it's almost. I don't know how to put the right word to it because it's not boring. I thought this game was actually really fun. At least the first two periods were really fun. But that's the expectation out of Colorado, right? Is they're supposed to make it look good when they play hockey. And when you get that from your entire lineup, from Parker Kelly all the way up to Brock Nelson, who was your 1C tonight, you had guys making quality plays. Yeah, there were stretches of sloppiness. Hockey's hard, man. Ice is slippery. Pucks are made of rubber. Like
those guys are big, fast, and strong.
Right. Like it's after coming off of the Olympics, where unbelievable skill on those teams, but they are teams that haven't really played together. To see when the plays come together and these guys that have played together for months, years, this entire season, however you want to put it. And those plays click. They know where each other's going to be. They know what the play is. They know the system that they're in. I love hockey, man. It's just beautiful.
It felt far more like the brand of Avalanche hockey we saw, throughout November, December, before the Avs decided to kind of coast into the Olympic break. And that's without one of your two most important pieces. So, I mean, big picture here, I think there's a lot to be optimistic about moving forward.
Fully agree.
Because now it's house money, right? Like you can drop tomorrow and you did what you were supposed to in this first two at home against Minnesota. Sure. Get the dub. That'd be phenomenal. I'm not saying you punt on the game, but it's it's put you in a position where you're set up for success and what's going to be a really difficult week and a half stretch just on the body.
Yeah. Look, the worst they can go in this 5-7 is 1-4 now. So
I'll take it.
I mean, I would not take 1-4, but I will absolutely take 1-0.
Yeah,
yes.
Not aiming for 1-4, to be clear.
We do need to take our first break of the show and shout out a few of our sponsors. So let's make sure we do that, including our presenting sponsor, Bet365. You can jump in with Bet365 today and get yourself $200 in bonus bets when you sign up with code DNVR365. You do have to put $10 in your account and bet $5. Bet that on anything, and you don't even have to win the bet. Win or lose, you get $200 in bonus bets. They're also an official partner of the Colorado Avalanche. I got my Cale Makar power play point. That counts. That counts for something on my bets. And they did cover, too. So actually, I'm up today.
Yeah.
We made money. We made money with Bet365 today.
Stonks.
A bunch of great boosts, whether it be their daily parlay boost where you can get better odds, or, of course, you can use those bonus bets on just about any bet on this site. They even do an early payout offer in the NHL. The Avs never quite got the lead to 3 in this one, but if they had, you would have gotten paid out immediately. Anytime an NHL team you pick to win gets up by 3, the payout happens right away. So use that DNVR 365 code and get your $200 in bonus bets with Bet365. Of course, when you do gamble with them, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today.
Guys, I also want to shout out our friends over at New Built Restoration and Construction. Any project, these are the people that you want to call. Maybe you celebrated a little too hard, accidentally put a hole in the drywall. Maybe the power play got you a little frustrated, punched a hole in the drywall. It's all right. Call the friends at New Built. They will hook it up. They've got licensed general contractors who can help with any project, big or small. And they're available 24/7. They truly care about being there for their customers. There's over 600 reviews that prove this to be true. They want you to know that when times are tough, when you're frazzled, it can be quite a panic moment when you have a big project go wrong with the house or something like that. These are the people that work with your insurance to make sure it's a less stressful process, make it as smooth as possible. And some of their repair services offered include fire damage, water damage, mold removal, repair services, commercial projects. They're the master of all elements. They're like the Avatar. They're true DNVR fans. We're excited to support their business as well. When the home emergency hits, New Built Restoration and Construction will be there. That's nubilt.com, or just call 720-902-7472. Let them know DNVR sent you.
You got to recommend New Built to that school on your commute today.
That was very nearly a very bad situation. It seems like
pretty sure everyone's okay.
They are. There's a brutal fire. We got the crazy winds. There's no snow. We're paying for it with other fun stuff.
It's so dry out here too. Like, oof.
But hit up New Built.
Do it. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast, and it is time for the courtesy call on the Xfinity mobile call-in line, live from Utah. I don't even know the name of their arena, to be honest with you, off the top of my head.
The Delta Center is nothing if not efficient. I will give you that. Right after the game, this place looks completely different. So
they're fast.
Delta is not my friend today, but the Delta Center, I can live with them if they're going to give us an Avs win. That's all I'll say.
Well, we'll leave it at that on that front. How deep are you reading into this game, Bailey? Are you taking the W and walking away here, or are you looking at the details?
I feel as though this, for me, is not a very detail-oriented game. And I say that with the nicest intention possible, because I do think finding those details early is important, especially coming out of a 3-week break that has been as grueling as it has for 8 of these guys, or 7 of them out on the ice today. But it's huge to be able to apply some of those details and start off with a bang, right? When you have such a grueling schedule coming up and you're coming out of such a long break, you know, you've got guys on vacation, you've got guys over in Milan doing whatever they can to represent their country in the way that they see necessary. being able to come back and look as cohesive as they did, I think is the biggest part for me. You can go and focus and hammer details the rest of the week, as far as I'm concerned. But you started off on the right foot. Like that's the most important part here for me.
Obviously, the lines get shifted a little bit. No Nate tonight. You slide Brock up. Jack Drury in at 2C. How did you feel about those top two lines tonight and just kind of what they looked like functionally?
Functionally, I don't think it was bad. But at the same time, too, I think you get a little bit more out of the bottom six. Like that's just kind of how this game shook out. And I love games like this when you know, things are a little frazzled, maybe not as, you know, structured as you're used to seeing it. And that depth can come out and shine. And that's really a true testament to what this Colorado team thrives on, is being able to rely on guys like Parker Kelly, like, I mean, Victor Olofsson, who's normally a depth guy, and Ross Colton, who I think picked up right where he left off. It maybe didn't find the back of the net, but looked phenomenal tonight. When you're looking at some of those guys who are maybe more of those depth pieces being able to step up and perform the way that they were, that's huge for me. Now, Jack Drury being able to kind of formulate that, it's just not a role he's used to. He's not used to playing second line center. That's a lot of minutes that maybe he's not used to. And so I can't really fault him for a lot of that.
Ended up being 17-13 for Drury tonight. So definitely one of the highest ones for him. The other side of the ice on the defensive end, first thoughts of Kulak in an Avs jersey?
He was serviceable. Which for me, he was not as visible as maybe he would be if he, you know, spent more time here. But in a first game, there's a lot of moving parts here for me when it comes to this game. Kulak being one of them, and this being the first game off of the break.
Yeah.
And so, it's really hard for me to kind of grade off of that just because of the multitude of different angles to look at this game. As far as, you know, maybe trying to do that, like, again, he wasn't as visible as I'd maybe like him to be, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. In a game like this where you've got other guys stepping up and pulling their weight, the worst that Kulak can do is break down in the defensive zone and not do his job. And he did his job. That is one of the things that Bednar was really, really proud of, and saying, like, for a first game and, you know, there being so many moving parts, like, he really liked what Kulak was able to provide in a game like this.
6 penalties taken. I mean, you kill off 5 of them, but just what are your thoughts on that? I mean, is that kind of classic, you haven't played in 3 weeks, or is that something that stood out to you?
It's not really something I'm focusing on, if I'm being completely honest, in the first game back. That is the huge asterisk here for me. In the first game back, this is just kind of like you know, they're finding their groove. Things are, you know, maybe a little willy-nilly and maybe not as disciplined as they should be. If this is still an issue 4 games from now, I have more of a problem.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of a throwaway part for me. And yes, you allow a power play goal from Dylan Gunther, but for the most part, like, your special teams is exactly what it should be tonight. So
what's the in-arena reaction on that Parker Kelly goal? Because that, I mean, 1-on-4, he comes in. That's one of those that can get real quiet in a building real quick.
Oh, there were so many Abs fans in the building tonight. It blew up, especially where they have media set up too. It was electric. And it, like, normally in an away arena, like, when goals like that happen, you can feel it deflate a little bit. And it, like, the arena feeds off of things like that. That was not the case here at the Delta Center. Like, it really, I felt just as much, maybe not as much electricity as I would at Ball Arena, but enough that I think the guys feed off of that too. And you can see how excited he is after that as well. Like, it's a huge goal. and something that, I mean, talk about feeding momentum, talk about, leading the charge. I loved what Kale said in post game too. He talked about, Parker Kelly's setting an expectation for himself. And I think situations like that's become the expectation for a guy like him. And if he can keep doing that, it's going to stay as electric as it has been.
If he keeps doing that, that contract is the best in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Bigger milestone tonight. Brock Nelson, 30 goals, or Scott Wedgwood's second point?
I'm a goalie lover. You know which way I'm heading with this. I will never have enough love in the world for what Scott Wedgwood can do. And if that's getting another point to his name, go Scott. Get yourself that, that milestone, that recognition later on after your career. Like that's really cool. That's more of a fun milestone than anything. For Brock, given what he's done in the last 40 games, it was only a matter of time. Like that's kind of the way that I'm looking at it there. Like he's become one of the best 2Cs in the league at this point. And as long as your 2C is providing like that, I mean, that's, we talk about expectations. Brock Nelson was supposed to do that. That is the expectation for him. And again, it was only a matter of time.
How many goals does he need to get to now? Because we're at 30. Like, would it be, I feel like expecting 40 might be a bit of a stretch, but he's in that convo now.
I think he should get there. I think he should get to 40.
If he keeps on at the pace that he is at, I see no reason as to why that is not feasible for a guy like Brock Nelson. And if that is the case, again, we're talking about the gauntlet that is the Colorado Avalanche. And when they are on, we're talking about an Avalanche team without Nathan MacKinnon, again, mind you.
Yep.
And Brock Nelson is able to perform that way. You add Nathan MacKinnon back to that roster, and I don't know what's better than Gauntlet, but that's scary. That's terrifying. And that is what Brock Nelson is. It's become a 4-headed monster in a way, or at least a 3-headed monster in what you talk about roles and what Jack Drury is able to provide, what Brock Nelson's doing, what Nathan MacKinnon knows how to do. Like, he just makes the trade deadline just that much more interesting to me now.
I don't know that anything the Avs do is necessarily going to change their course when it comes to the trade deadline. But do you think going on a bit of a run leading up to it here helps them maybe convince a guy?
That was going to be the exact point that I bring up, is what better way to, come hither. We have nice things here. We know what we're doing, right? Like, what better way to taunt somebody and convince them than to go on an insane run in the next 5 and 7? Like that just seems like the perfect course of action for me.
I'm down.
If you're a winner, right?
Yeah.
Like, unless you're worried about getting outshined by Captain America, Brock Nelson.
Right.
No, just think you get to play next to that guy. Be part of the...
Next to an American hero.
That's right. King.
Join the family where stuffed animals are threats.
Maybe that the Avs need to go get an American. Maybe that's the play. That's all I had.
You've had a hell of a day, Bailey. Get home safe, guys.
No kidding.
I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully, barring any more flight issues. Keep me in your prayers, please.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thanks, you guys. Have a great night.
That was Bailey Curtis on the Xfinity Mobile Call-In line live from Utah. We also have from Utah the audio from Jared Bednar. So let's hear from Coach on the first win back.
Okay. Coach, just your initial, kind of reaction first game coming out of the break. What do you think of your group?
It was all right. Yeah, I thought it was all right. I think guys played hard. They were committed to the way we want to play. There was some sloppy plays on both sides of it, I think, that led to some real good scoring chances for and against. But overall, committed to our checking game, had some good shifts offensively, scored on the power play. I know you guys like that. Penalty kill had its moments, and Wedgie made some big saves when he needed to. I thought he was really good in the third period when they were pushing with the empty net. So overall, I got to say no passengers, so I have to be pretty happy with it. You knew it wasn't going to be an incredible game from an execution standpoint, but I think the guys, heads and hearts were in the right place.
Even from that execution standpoint, coming out of the break, how do you judge a guy like Kulak in his first game coming into a situation like that?
Well, he was good. I just think, suppressing scoring chances, he did a nice job. Got beat on a creative play by the end boards play where the guy got a good shot in front of the net on the sort of icing play off the end boards. Didn't look like he was expecting that, but for the most part looked pretty comfortable in our structure of our game. Moved the puck pretty well. He skated the puck to the red line, put it in a number of times, made some plays. So for me, I think he was someplace around 18, 19 minutes in his first game, which is good quality minutes against very skilled forwards, and he did a nice job.
Nate, do you expect him to be able to play tomorrow?
Yes.
Even when you're missing a forward like Nate, how important is it for guys like Parker Kelly and maybe some of the chances Kiviranta and Colton were creating? How important is that depth in a game like this?
Well, it's huge because you're taking a guy out of the lineup that's going to play 22 minutes in all situations and create a ton of offense. So first thing you worry about is are you going to be able to create enough chances and goals to win the hockey game? So the depth comes up big. That's a big goal by Parker Kelly. It was a great individual effort. You need guys to chip in on the best of nights, never mind on a night when you're missing one of your star forwards.
You mentioned the power play goal, big topic going in. What do you think of the execution?
It was good. Yep, I thought they were committed. That goal scored because of the hard work. I think we checked the puck back in the zone 2 or 3 times. Val had a lot to do with that down low, winning some battles and keeping some pucks alive. And then, we calm it down a little bit and we get a good look on the flank. Sometimes those will go in, sometimes they haven't. More times than not for us, those shots haven't gone in, but I think Marty got, good velocity on that one. It was a good pass by Kale. So I will take any power play goal that we can get at this point to kind of get our guys feeling it. But even the second one, it wasn't perfect, but they did some good things. So there's something to build off there, and it's 1 for 2 to start fresh after the break.
Marty scored a few of those same goals at the Olympics. I know him and Nate kind of do things there, but is that something you maybe give a longer look to with Marty and the ball there? That continues to work?
Yeah, we'll see. That's kind of Nate's spot, but we've talked about a few different things coming out of this. Some things that we definitely want to improve on from the first half. So, like I said, good start tonight. Well done.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
You know what the real win of this game was for the Avs? Nobody got hurt. We call that preventative care, and that's what they do over at Common Spirit Health. They're more than just hospitals and clinics. They're a team of compassionate and expert caregivers dedicated to your well-being, woven into the very fabric of community. Yes, they do preventative care, but they also have advanced surgical solutions. Their skilled physicians and caring staff are here for you, offering personalized treatment tailored to your unique needs. You can expect a blend of cutting-edge technology with a commitment to human kindness at their 20 hospitals and 240 clinics and care sites right here in Colorado. Whether it's a routine checkup, managing a chronic condition, or responding to an emergency, you can trust Common Spirit to deliver exceptional care close to home. Experience the difference compassion makes. Find a Common Spirit location near you and discover a new standard of health and healing by visiting mountain.commonspirit.org. Common Spirit Health is an official healthcare partner of the Denver Broncos.
I also want to talk to you guys about STK Steakhouse. They've got the 369 happy hour menu with all kinds of options ranging from $3 to $6 to $9. It's available Sunday through Thursday from 2:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. as well as 9 p.m. to close. Friday and Saturday from 2:30 to 5:30. They're open late night on game days. So if you're at Ball Arena, you hit a Nuggets game, you go to see the Avs. Next fall, maybe you're checking out the Broncos, hopefully en route to a Super Bowl appearance. Then you want to keep the vibes going, hit up STK, get yourself a late night steak. Steak night is a 3-course meal plus a glass of wine for $69 a person. Pretty good deal. Pretty good bargain there. Seasonal menus feature rotating menu items, so they're always changing it up. If you haven't been in a while, it might be different than the last time that you were there. Make a reservation or learn more at stksteakhouse.com.
Steaks are for gold medal winners, all right? Only Brock Nelson can go.
Only winners get steaks, boys.
Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by Bet365. 3 stars of the game. I think that you could have put Scott Wedgwood on this list ultimately. I did not.
We were a little harsh, but he gave up some softies.
Yeah, I didn't love either goal. And I know it's Dylan Guenther and one's on a power play, but I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm not upset with Wedgwood. Wedgwood was good.
He was fine.
I just wanted to give my stars elsewhere.
We've got standards. Sorry.
Star number 3 is the gold medal man himself with Brock Nelson. Comes back in a bubble, tired, exhausted, still gets the game winner for the Colorado Avalanche and was threatening repeatedly in the first period for them too. Not only that, but is doing that, stepping up, playing on the first line, led all forwards for the Avalanche in TOI by like 4 minutes. He played 22:56. The next was Landeskog at 19:13. That's a dude putting in work.
Huffing and puffing all the way to success.
I mean, I guess it's easy to keep going when all you do is win.
Can't hear the haters when you got a gold medal in your ear.
Man, that would be hard to fit.
What?
But look, Brock has been the piece, and we've talked about this before. We don't have to get into it super deep, but Brock has been the piece that they've been looking for since they lost Kadri, right? Like, he not only solves the 2C, he's playing above the standard of a 2C.
I'll say this, and whenever you get into the comparison game, it's hard to not be like, this guy's better. Kadri, what he did that year was special.
Yep.
Point production, a lot of fun. A great Av who was a significant part of a really fun season. I think what Brock Nelson has done this year is even more impressive. It's been extraordinary to get this type of consistency out of him. Yeah. He's going to hit that 40 goal mark.
It sure looks like it, man. Maybe this magic bubble he's got on is
like,
the key
realistically, genuine. Like, if you looked up at the end of the year and it had been a 25 goal season, you'd have been like, solid.
Great. Yeah.
That's what we needed to get out of that role.
Mm-hmm.
And for him to be this,
aces.
I mean, he's a bargain.
Yep. It's worked out better than I think anyone could have realistically expected.
If you get him in an even somewhat competent version of Landeskog on top of the fact that, I mean, we haven't even talked about Nichushkin.
Yeah,
like,
right.
It's just an embarrassment of riches.
Your top 6 is kind of dumb and you're trying to add guys. Well, probably more like a 3C, but I digress.
Why not? Let's get greedy.
Yeah. Who says you can't have Nelson and Kadri?
Score all of the goals.
Second star, it's a lot easier to score all the goals when someone like Parker Kelly is walking dudes like he's a superstar. I don't need to say anything. That first goal speaks for itself.
That's one of those that I think you surprise yourself almost.
Sure.
Like, I can't believe that worked.
It's very right on the edge, right? Borderline out of control, almost loses the puck, gets it back. Like,
and
he's along for the ride as much as anyone else. Yeah.
Sweet. All right.
Yeah. Awesome to watch. He also picks up another assist, and he's Parker Kelly. You know he's great on the backside of things. You know he's a good PKer. And he's a guy who stepped up too. When Nathan McKinnon is not in your lineup, Brock Nelson moves to 1C. Now Jack Drury's playing 2C. Parker Kelly was listed as the 3C today. And probably the Avs' best line between him and Olofsson. Like,
it's hard to argue with the production. And I mean, they sustained a ton of time in the opponent's zone. Like, it was really encouraging. And frankly, like, another conversation we've had a million times, so I'm not going to go too far into the weeds here, but this game is just such a great representation of how good this Avs front office is. Yeah. Like, if you look at, some of their more significant moves, like, you lock down Kelly,
Yep.
You bring back Nelson after you brought him over. Those guys carried you tonight.
Yep.
Even Olofsson.
Right. An off-season move. Those, they're not all bangers, as we've talked about, but the guys that have stuck around, they get the job done for the Avs. So
I just feel like the projection was so solid going into this year of who do we want more of and who can we live without? And you see some of that. But just
Jonathan
awesome
Drouin
game.
hasn't scored in 20 games in New York.
I was going to be nice because he was really cool to me in the locker room last
He's a
year.
really nice guy.
He seemed like a great dude. You want to catch up later, buddy?
But the Avs also made their decision, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
First star, Marty Necas. Now, I don't know if he necessarily deserved first star tonight, but given the season that's been, you may have to be a miracle worker to actually score a power play goal for the Avs. So that's why he's getting first star in this one. And it's a big goal too, right?
Yeah.
It's one that you had to match Utah in the special teams battle, and you did because Necas was able to finish one for you. It's the exact type of goal we've been begging the Avs to maybe not necessarily score, but more aggressively look for.
It's the type of counterpunch you have to respond in this type of setting, because if you don't, that's exactly how you let a scrappy team like Utah find some life, get some confidence. Maybe they don't punt on the third period, if you don't strike back that way.
Right. There's a lot of storylines building through this season with Necas. One, he's having his best season ever playing next to Nathan McKinnon, even with the ins and outs that he's had at times. Two, he just had a great Olympics, and you want to believe that he can be that guy in the big moments, in the big games, in a way that he maybe hasn't been during the playoffs and in the past in his career. And now he comes back and has a 2-point night to kick off this home stretch or whatever you want to call it, and just stay hot, right? Never cool down. And this guy puts together something approaching 100-point season, and you carry that momentum into the playoffs, and everything rides high.
The party doesn't have to end, Marty.
Let's go.
We can just keep it going. I mean, that was superstar shit that he did in Italy.
Yeah.
And you just kind of hope to see some of that. And I don't think he was a player who lacked confidence before the Olympics or anything like that. But it is one of those moments just from personal validation where, like, you go out and play like that. You want to keep those vibes going. You want to keep that feeling going. Obviously, Nate will be back in the picture moving forward, and that's great for the Avs. But I think it's encouraging to see him score those types of goals, especially at this stage of the season, because that's kind of the one thing you might nitpick on. You would have liked to see him score a little more last postseason. Yeah. It feels like he's trending towards being a really loud participant in the postseason.
I really hope so. And honestly, I really hope it comes on the power play.
That'd be so nice. I'm so tired of talking about it.
I know, aren't we all? But we're about to talk about it again.
I know, we have to.
Now.
Here's 10 more minutes of us whining about the power play.
Look, it goes 1 for 3 tonight.
Process was pretty good.
First one, they score on, A1. Yeah. Second one, pretty darn good. The third one was a split, half, weird, whatever, not worth talking about. That'll do.
Literally, that's all we're asking for.
Yeah.
The bare minimum. Because if you get the bare minimum with this juggernaut of a 5-on-5 team, I'm not going to say unstoppable because hockey is the weirdest sport and fluky stuff happens.
Yep.
But for all intents and purposes, you're no longer a fair team to play at that point.
Does this have to be the trigger point? Necas scores in McKinnon's spot. You even heard Bednar get asked about it, and he was like, well, it's Nate's spot.
It's a bit premature, but the power play has been a persistent enough struggle that it opens up the possibility of these narratives coming to fruition. And I mean, we somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but like we wouldn't have brought it up pregame if it wasn't a thing that everyone was going to have their eyes on. Nate's not out there. Marty's in a spot where he shined in the Olympics. Can he deliver in the same way? Small sample size, but yes.
Right. He's got a power play goal in one game of doing this without Nathan McKinnon. So
I almost wonder, like, we all know Nate is such a competitive psycho, and I'd say that with endearment. Like, would a stretch of Marty thriving on the power play almost be what you need to just, like, the sluggishness hasn't awakened the beast. Maybe it needs to be inner pettiness.
Right.
Like,
I'm better than that
anything
guy.
you can do, I can do better type stuff.
I'm open to it at this point. The Avs almost have to have a successful run here on the power play because of just how good literally all of their guys were on the power play at the Olympics. Not just McKinnon and Necas, but Landy was scoring power play goals. Lecky was getting involved in power play points. Makar was great on the power play for Team Canada.
You have too much talent to have the 32nd ranked power play in the NHL. It defies logic.
It's borderline unbelievable, but this is the world we live in, so I guess I believe it. But it really has to be now. We've joked at times this season where, the Avs are just hiding their power play strats for the playoffs. That's not how that works. You need to be building your power play into something you can be confident in the playoffs, because it's gonna matter in the playoffs. I guarantee it.
Well, and ideally you're gonna have the division wrapped up with 10 to 14 days, knock on wood. Obviously a lot of hockey to be played, not trying to count the eggs before they've hatched and all that. But I just think that if you're in a position where it's not worked out, then it's like, well, now is not when we want to be working through these. Now is when we're trying to prevent tread on the tires.
Exactly. And if you are working through it at that point, who's even in your lineup if you're load managing guys?
That too. Is it going to translate to the
Yeah.
postseason? Or is that even the guys that you're going to be out there with? Probably not.
Exactly. So I really do think it is important. Again, I'm not asking for their power play to be all world, but be solid.
Give me the 21st ranked power play in the NHL, and I'll shut up for at least 2 weeks.
Yep. Hopefully longer. I don't want to talk about it anymore either. Now is a great time to become a DNVR diehard.
Please.
You can help support us, and we also have a great sale going on. Look, we can allow the Broncos guys to think it's a sale for the Combine and not because the Avs are back in action, all right? They can have that. It's fine. But when you sign
need
up,
that more than we do.
True. When you sign up, you get access to all of our written content, which is great stuff from Bailey, from AJ, from J Mike too. A bunch of great content on the written side there. You get a bunch of other stuff too. A free t-shirt comes with your membership. That's basically the entire price of the membership at the discounted price. So it's worth it just for that. A bunch of other access and discounts at the bar too. So consider becoming a diehard and supporting us today. It would mean a lot and really helps us out.
Go read about Scott Steiner's son.
Yeah,
Big
there you
Papa
go.
Pump. I wrote about him this morning. Lots of fun.
Will they sue me if I call him the WWF again?
I mean, when he was relevant,
the
it
WWF,
was. So I
right.
think
Like,
you're
that's
just
what I'm
being
saying.
historically
Right,
accurate.
Yeah. This game is one where I think you look at the Avs depth and you feel really good. You get that Parker Kelly greatness. Olofsson scores a goal. Gavin Brindley looked really good, even if he didn't have that production necessarily. And, then you have a fourth line of, you get what you get out of Bardakovs and Kivirantas, but did they hurt you? No.
No liabilities out there.
Exactly. So you take a look at that and you know you're going to get McKinnon back. You're hopeful LOC is going to come back, and you're hopeful you're going to add to that depth in a meaningful way sometime in the next 10 days.
I think on paper, this is about as ideal of a scenario as you could be in from a roster management perspective.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't have to deal with, and knock on wood, Hail Marys, all your superstitious jargon,
Of course,
whatever.
Yeah.
This is the position you've been unfortunate to not be in the last couple of years, whether it be injuries or just not having the 2C, not straight up not having the right pieces. It just feels like it's always been we got to tinker to try and put the best Frankenstein type scenario possible.
Right. Isn't that a 10 trade season?
I mean, they've hit on every move.
Yep. It feels really
for
good
like
this year.
18 months now.
Yeah. It's hard to not trust them. Obviously, Kulak is the start of that this year. And
I guess Lindgren, you could maybe debate about whether it was a success or not.
yeah, I mean,
splitting hairs.
I
don't think it was a failure.
It
was a move that made sense at the time.
Right. Obviously the way the playoffs ended last year, if you want to argue that everything's a failure because you didn't win a cup, I think you could make that argument. But
well, yeah, I mean, you didn't achieve what you set out to, but it's not an instance of bad process, right? You don't look at that like it was some senseless gamble that mortgages the future or something like that.
Yeah, I retaining Brock Nelson pretty much erased that conversation from my mind. Yeah. So you're set up in a really good spot and you expect to get better. And we're not, this feels, and again, 1 game sample size, you cannot take serious takeaways from this outside of it was a good game and what the Avs did well within the game itself. But it feels a little bit like the early portions of this season. B plus game from the Avs. I definitely don't think that was the A game.
I think you give him a B. It's probably like a B- if you have McKinnon out there.
Sure, but without McKinnon, that changes the math.
But yeah. The curve gets shifted just slightly. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a solid B. I think you made a couple of plays, like the Parker Kelly goal, for instance, where you were kind of able to create something out of nothing. I thought you were the more opportunistic team. I think special teams is a win as a whole. Committing that many penalties is a bit rough, but you kill 5 of them. So I think, you got what you hoped to see. It wasn't a disaster game for the guys back from the Olympics. Certainly hope to see a heck of a lot more out of Devontae's, and you will. He's an incredible hockey player. Yeah. But on a night where some of those guys maybe don't have their best, trying to get their legs back under them, trying to figure out what time zone they're in, to get, multiple goals out of Kelly and Olofsson, and even the goal from Nelson, I felt like was just such a statement moment of, we're still the Avs.
We're better. It's fine.
We back. We all the way back. Don't forget it.
Especially when you look at that defensive side, when you look at the time on ice balancing in this game, Makar played 22:40, which I know sounds like a lot, but for Cale Makar, that's like the floor. Taves 21:38, Burns 19:06, Kulak 19:03, Manson 17:50. Malinsky a little bit less down at 16:11, but that's balanced attack for your decor. That is, we trust all 6 of these guys.
I'd like to see a few more games that are kind of closer to that,
Same,
especially
honestly.
Just the tread you had to put on Cale, or that Canada had to put on him in those Olympics. Like such an Iron Man out there. It'd be nice to, in some of these games, if you can save him 5 minutes, do it.
Yeah, give him the edges where you can. That stuff does add up across the course of an entire season. And
Cale's like that jerk at the gym who's just insane shape and like run. He's like, oh, it's just a light workout. What'd you do? And he's like, oh, I ran a 10K and I put up 235 and then I did the, squatted 515. Like, oh, that's a light day?
When you walk in the gym, he's running. When you leave the gym, he's still running.
Yeah.
That's absolutely the type of energy that Cale brings to a hockey game.
Just wondering as you start being like, this asshole's still going.
You come in the next day, he's there.
What is happening? Do you sleep here?
Chat, 24 more likes for a winner shot, by the way. I would like one. It's been a while. I'm just saying. You could throw us a like. Could be cool. Could be fun. Could be cool on that front. Avs don't really get time to relax or even to analyze, right? You turn around.
Neither do we.
Right. You fly back and you play again tomorrow night. It comes quick and it comes against an opponent that I'm not trying to disparage Utah. Again, they may well be a playoff team this year, but they ain't Minnesota.
And Minnesota really came on strong before the break, right?
Yep.
So it feels kind of like a litmus test. I will say I feel like the second matchup I care a little bit more about just because you're into the flow of things at that point.
Sure.
Give them a little bit of leeway given the circumstances and the fact that, I mean, you did what you were supposed to. You got to win here in the back-to-back. If you can go 2-0 here, now all of a sudden we're just getting greedy again, but
It's fine.
I do want to see some fight, like whether they're sluggish and show the probably inevitable impact of being in this weird schedule spot. That's one thing, but come out and fight.
Well, it does help that your best player should have legs.
Ideally,
It does sound like he's going to be back, but
figures. I mean, I almost wonder if that was one where they told him to sit for your own good.
You know, the team was like, Nate, you're sitting.
Like, just take a breather, bud. We're all going to be kind of tired. You're going to be in a grumpy mood. Like, maybe just take an extra day.
It's fine, man.
We got it.
And they won, so no complaints all the way around.
I am curious, though, to see just what is the mentality of McKinnon coming off of this heartbreak. You know, I just think it could go so many different ways. There's a world in which that's what lights your fire. There's a world where it's like a bad breakup and eventually you come out on the other side stronger, but you kind of have to go through the part of the movie where you wallow and pity a little bit. I think any of that can be on the table with a guy like McKinnon, who he wears his heart on his sleeve, like for better or for worse.
Yeah, of course we all hope to see Angry Mac come out and just murder the league for the stretch run, but whether that happens or not, we'll see. I do think it is an interesting situation in the sense of Nathan McKinnon just spent 4 weeks or whatever it was playing without Landy before the break, played on Team Canada without Landy. Avs get back, no McKinnon in the lineup, but Landy's back in the lineup, and it's the most routine business-like operation we've seen from them in a while. At times it felt like things were going a little bit off the rails at the end of the NHL schedule into the break. I just don't worry about the emotional state of the Colorado Avalanche when you have Gabe Landeskog at the helm.
I do think that's massive. I think it would be a really different conversation if this was exactly 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know you can like dive into the numbers. There are ways to quantify that the Avalanche are in fact a better team when Gabe Landeskog is on the ice. But there's something from an energy standpoint and just like a vibe of the team that's it's palpable when it's just different when he's out there.
Yep. It's one of those things that's why they call them intangibles. But you can tell. I do think we have a couple of super chats here.
Ew.
$2 from Ryan, who says, big Ewing theory moment for the Avs PP today. I don't know what the Ewing theory is.
The Ewing theory is a theory by the legendary Bill Simmons. And that's
about
like
Patrick Ewing then?
Yeah. If a team loses somebody who's perceived as a superstar and then they go on to have success basically immediately after said superstar disappears, you're now in play for the Ewing theory.
I see.
Or they're, addition by subtraction, essentially by somebody who's valued as a hot commodity.
Yeah.
It's not a big enough sample size to truly apply for it.
And also,
Nate's really good. I hope that I've said some stuff tonight, but he's incredible.
It's this weird, because I've gone back to this too. The Avs have had a top 10 power play with Nathan McKinnon on it for years. It's just the last 18 months it's been a disaster. So I don't know that it's Ewing theory as much as hopefully it's, hey, Nathan McKinnon, you got to be better on the power play.
Or maybe this is just the beginning of the numbers finally reverting to the mean. Which at some point these numbers have to average out.
Right. They can't stay at a net 10% power play. It's not possible. And then $7 from Benny, who says, looking forward to the Roast My Roster this week. Rudo, are you joining for it? J Mike. Oh, I read that horribly. Y'all better read mine, LOL. It is Friday, for the record. If you want to get your roster in for Roast My Roster, go to Puckpedia, use their GM tools, make whatever trades you think the Avs should make. We'll go through, we'll pick a bunch of them, and we'll roast you on Friday's show. So,
what a fun concept.
It's a fun time. We've been doing it for a few years, and we always have a good time with it. AJ and I also make dumb ones that are really dumb that you guys get to roast. So,
I like it.
Goes both ways on that.
Men of the people.
Get them in when you do submit them on Puckpedia. Make sure you put DNVR in the title so we know to read them. But yeah, I guess that's about it for this one. Any final thoughts, J Mike, before we wrap this show up?
You started on a high note. You have an opportunity here to really basically invest in your own future down the line by racking up some wins here, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't know why I'm making this more complicated than it needs to be. I'm trying to sound smarter than I am, and I'm tired. But yeah, you have an opportunity here to really put some distance between you and the rest of the division if you can capitalize on this 10-game stretch.
As simple as beating Minnesota tomorrow would give you an 8-point lead with games in hand.
With an opportunity to stretch it further.
A 9-point lead even with games in hand. Yeah. So you don't have to do it now, but
be nice.
You could make your life real easy, like you were saying. Yeah.
Let's do your chores now.
As if I ever did that in my entire life.
I'm great at giving advice.
Do as I say, not as I do. We are out of here. We appreciate all y'all hanging out with us. You know where to find us 5 days a week. It's game day tomorrow, so same deal. Pre-game, watch along, post-game. This has been the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by Bet365.
We all silly like the mayor.